Meet Ada Onanuga, a finance executive and business development leader with an impressive track record in investment banking, structured finance, and capital markets. Now serving as Executive Director of Business Development at ACUOP, she brings years of experience leading complex transactions and driving strategic growth across Africa's financial landscape. A chartered financial analyst and accomplished business strategist, Ada is widely respected for her ability to combine financial expertise with visionary leadership to create lasting business value. As she brings this expertise to Beyond the Olodo, she'll be unpacking the competences that set average professionals apart from exceptional ones and what it takes to stay relevant in today's evolving workplace.
Afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me. I have been, if you could see I've been taking notes. I've just been blown away by everything that I've heard today. So it's been such an even beautiful session for me. Before I go into my thoughts for today, I also want to thank the Maverick Leadership Center, Mr. Ajibola Bamidele, for the honor of the invitation. Thank you for asking me to speak today. And it's an honor and a pleasure to be here. And hopefully what I have to share is of benefit to the people that are on the call. Now, before I go into my slides, I just wanted to say, in fact, I circled this in my notes as I was listening to both speakers to myself, that it's almost as if we peeped into each other's notes before we came for this session. So I'm very happy that there is cohesion in terms of what we will talk about today. So without further ado, I will go into my slides. Let me know when you can see my screen and then we can go into things.
Okay, we can see it.
Okay, awesome. So as we have been told, my name is Ada Onanuga. I'll just go into the next slide that briefly describes who I am. Now, my passion, my why is I am very passionate about helping ambitious women level up in career, wealth, and calling. A little bit about me, I have been in the finance world for the bulk of my career. I have spent over 13 years in finance. The bulk of that was in African corporate and investment banking. So did deals for both Nigerian businesses as well as businesses and sovereigns and quasi-sovereigns across Africa. Now, one of my slides that I did recently, I talked about the fact that my career has been admittedly an expedited one. I did go from graduate trainee to executive director in 13 years. And I'm also a CFA charter holder. I hold the Advanced Financial Modeler accreditation, and I'm a fellow of the National Institute of Credit Administrators, and have spent many years on the hiring and the promoting side of the business. Now, personally, I'm a wife and mother. I have a wonderful husband. I have 2 girls. I am the author of Awaken the Voice Within. I launched my debut book early this year. I'm also the community leader for the White Honeycomb Collective. We're a collective of people who are, again, leveling up in career, wealth, and calling, and co-convener of Coffee and Conversations, which we have another webinar happening tonight. So it's a very busy day for me. Now, I think that, as I was listening to Additional's points, I was like, hi, this guy is shaking tables again. But in many ways, what he has to say is very much on point. As much as it may make some of us uncomfortable, it may rattle some of the moral high grounds that we feel that we stand on. The truth of the matter is that for a lot of us who do have value to share, we have been so acculturated in this society, especially as women. We are so focused on what will they say, what will it look like, and you are so enamored by what your haters will say that you do not think about the fact that there are other people who have value to receive from what it is you have to offer. So yes, Nigeria is having the Olodo uprising conversation, and we know what that is. I will not belabor the points. But it's easy to mock people, but it's better for us to actually be curious about it. And again, Additional has covered this in detail, so I will not belabor the points, but it's important for us to be honest about why. So when opportunities are scarce, when hard work doesn't seem to pay, the traditional path seems unattainable or like a waste of time, chasing virality actually starts to look like a smarter bet. You cannot blame these people for what is going on in the society, and they have responsibilities. They have families to take care of. They have needs to meet. So we can either laugh at them or knock them down, or we can get curious about what is causing this to happen and what the call to action for us who have value that we prefer to offer. How do we make it marketable? So it's not simply laziness. It is a seemingly rational answer to a real, actual problem. But the truth of the matter is that value never did go out of style, right? Attention is rented and competence is owned. I'm going to pause here. Now, when I was thinking about this topic and deliberating between the tension of, yes, we don't like what we are promoting, but we cannot deny the fact that what is being promoted is creating some kind of value for people. The question that then came to mind for me is, okay, why do I believe that it is important for me to be able to provide value outside of what can be promoted on social media? And the reason is this, to my mind, attention is rented, competence is owned. If you take away Instagram, or if for some reason your platform is blocked or there's something going on with you, is there any way for you to be able to sell what it is that the value that you're providing? If the answer to that is no, then what you're building is not actually sustainable. And so attention is rented, competence is owned. Nobody can take away from you what you know in your head, the value that you have added to yourself by the rigor that you have put yourself through. The only person that can take it away from you is you. If you allow your thoughts and opinions of what people think and what they do and what they expect and what culture and society has promoted and try to make you believe about life and what is obtainable for you, when you believe that, you are the one that is actually limiting yourself, right? I did a post recently where I said that being the underdog is not a problem unless you start to believe them. A lot of us, sometimes we are so focused, if we're being very honest with ourselves, the reason why we feel so strongly about some of the negative things that we see being promoted on social media, not just the negative things we see being promoted on social media, the amount of attention it gets. It is a convenient way for us to not deal with the fact that perhaps there is some jealousy there because you don't have the courage of your conviction. You don't have the courage to look past what people will think or what you think people will think or what it will look like, to put yourself out there, to potentially be laughed at, to potentially be ridiculed, to push past all of that and stay the course, try something, don't try it, it doesn't work, you keep trying, you keep refining until you get it right. And I'll give an example of my own experience. So I went through this, for lack of a better word, identity rediscovery with God over the past 3 years. And towards the end of last year, it was coming to me or coming to my mind. I was getting the sense that it was time for me to be more visible. It was time for me to start putting myself on social media. And so I started posting, and the posts were not good. I think at the time I had like maybe 800 followers, if that. And I was very uncomfortable because, again, guys, for context, my name is Ada. I'm the first daughter. My father is the first son. My grandfather is the patriarch of the family. If there is anything like, and then I grew up in an environment where it's very close-knit family. My parents' siblings are very close. And the thing about that is that everybody has an opinion about what you're supposed to be doing. So if there was ever a poster child for, being so preoccupied with what people will think and what people will say, I was a person. And so for me, it needed to be perfect from day zero, and it wasn't, and I struggled. But I was going to ask myself, I had to ask myself, what is more important to you, right? Is it more important for you to try and know and put your hand to your heart and to be able to say that I did the best that I could and it didn't work out? Or is it going to be a situation of, they will not look good, they will say, and then I will stop? And so I continue to push, I continue to try. Again, innovation, trying new things. This did not work, tried something else. June of last month, because this is still July. By the 5th of June, I went for a prayer walk. I just got a download and I completely changed. I let go of the people that were managing of my social media. I started to do this by myself. As at 8th of June, I had 1,250 followers on Instagram. Today, I have almost 15,000 in a very short period of time. Right? And I give that example not to toot my own horn. I give that example to say someone can look at it and say, it's only happened in 6 weeks. What they will not see was the months of trying, the times of trying, of coming back when it was only 2 views, coming back when it was only 5 views, posting every day when it's only 6 views. So you have to keep going. You have to keep trying. And that's what these supposed Olodos have that sometimes those of us who have values to provide, we struggle with. We are so preoccupied by what people think, but because they don't care, counterintuitively, it seems to be working for them. So if there is one thing I want anyone to take away from what I'm talking about today, we need to go back and start to really ask ourselves how our wiring, how our upbringing, how our childhood, how our training is the very thing that is stopping us from being able to provide value to the maximum and add value to ourselves. And so going back to the original point, you can be viral tonight and be forgotten by Friday. But if you can solve real problems, you are well positioned to sustainably generate wealth. What do you need to do? Break out of this mindset of this unnecessary preoccupation with what people think, what people will say, and allowing those negative voices dictate your actions. And I keep harping on this because I cannot tell you the number of women that in my DMs that are fantastic, that are brilliant, that do not want to own the fullness of who they are and what they carry because of what they will say or what it will seem like. So moving on quickly, because I know we're far gone for time. You are not just your certificates, you are your value. So if we go to the topic of what I'm supposed to speak about today, which is what competencies that employers actually want, they want one thing: solve their problem. The people that I look after in my team, get it done. Just get it done. Be a person of value. It is more than just what did you go to school with? What degree do you have? I say it all the time. I would rather hire someone with the right attitude than someone with the right skill. Attitude cannot be taught. Skill can be taught. You can learn it on the job. But someone who is devoted to being mediocre, there's nothing that you can do for that person. So competence gets you consistently paid across multiple streams of income. And as you continue to add value to yourself, look, one thing I pride myself on is on the fact that I'm a lifelong learner. I am constantly learning, trying to do new things. When I ever had Additional said that he was doing his CFA, I was like, yeah, like, you have to be someone that is constantly adding value to yourself because you exponentially increase your capacity to get financial wealth and financial growth for yourself. So what does this mean if we bring this back to today's conversation? I like to use the phrase be the unicorn. Now, if you can see me, when I thought about this presentation, what came to mind was this book I read. I'm holding it up if you can see my screen. It's called Be the Unicorn by a man called William Vanderbloemen. He studied 30,000 of the most sought after professionals, and he found something that was very interesting. The ones who are irreplaceable have the same 12 traits, and it's not talents. It's not that they went to the best schools. It is they are more deliberate. That is it. And we will look at these 12 traits in detail. Now, the beautiful thing about these 12 traits is that they fit very nicely into the three pillars of what we're talking about today: the thinker, the doer, and the problem solver. So first of all, what are the traits? Which of these 12 traits are characteristic of a thinker? It means that you see clearly and you decide well. Number one, you're curious. We have seen the thread of curiosity running through the presentations from the first speaker, the second speaker, and the third speaker today. And I have the opportunity to bring it home to everyone. Instead of laughing at the Olodo, are we curious about what they are doing and how we can make it work for ourselves? If we bring it down to your office, when your office announces a new strategy or a new approach to something, are you just upset about how it's going to affect the way you do your job? Or do you go the extra mile to ask yourself, I wonder why they're doing this? What could it be? What are they trying to achieve? And when you start to ask yourself that question, the next thought that follows is, okay, how can I key in here? How can I key in here to add value for myself personally? How can I key in here to add value to the organization so that I am seen as a key person of influence in this organization, so that I can carry the relationships that I need to be able to grow in this place, right? Or if this place is not right for me, that I can add value to myself by demonstrating how I keyed in when I'm sitting in front of my next employer doing an interview. I think one thing that is important for us to understand, those of us who are in 9 to 5, you are the owner. You have to take agency for your own career. When you're sitting in front of an interviewer, I don't care if you're entry level, you better be able to understand that you also have value to provide. They need you. Like, don't go into these situations feeling like they're doing you a favor. They can smell it. And when they smell it, they will lowball you. And I say that as if I'm not among them. But these are like the back pocket tips and tricks that I'm telling you guys. when you go into an interview situation, you better walk in there because you know that you're a person of value, because you actually have value, not that you're boboing yourself. And if you don't have value, what can you do to add value to yourself? That is the question that you need to be asking yourself, right? To anticipate. So what does it mean to anticipate? You think 2-3 steps ahead. If I do this, so for example, if you're working in a financial organization, right? Which is the bulk of my experience. You have a client that comes into your office, for example, very basic. Maybe you work in a branch, client comes into your office. Okay, if they come into this office, what are they going to experience? Is the environment hospitable? Is it clean? If it is not clean, if it is not hospitable, what does it mean for them to be able to do their job? So for them to be able to receive service, would they be amenable to even using me? Would they want to come in and come out? Or if, even at your desk, okay, maybe you're treating a client's transaction. If I don't do this the way it needs to be done, what is the impact on the rest of the chain? Sometimes we get so focused on our own task, we don't think about how our own task affects other people who need to get their work done. So someone who is a unicorn thinks beyond just their own job to how it affects other people. That is how you become valuable. That is how you become recognized. Agile, you adapt, you move quickly. Something happens, you are not like, hey, this thing happened, though. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Okay, it happened. It is not ideal. What do we do to address it so that we make sure that this does not affect the business? Self-aware. I remember the second and third speaker spoke about this as well. It is absolutely important to understand how the way you show up in the world affects how people see you and how people interact with you. It is going to affect you in your role, right? And so we move to the doer. I'm moving really quickly because I'm mindful of time. Who is the doer? They don't have to chase you to do your job. So there's a young lady in my team that I work with, very excellent young lady. It gets to the point where I feel, in a way, irritated. And I've told my team members before, I want to be irritated by you because I want it to be that you are chasing me. Madam, I send this to you, I send this to you, I send this to you, I send this to you. You haven't done it, as opposed to me, you chasing me. That is the doer. The doer gets things done. You are fast. Now, if anybody in this place has any email that has 20,000 unread emails, I'm judging you. You are not fast. I'm judging you. You have to be very quick. And this becomes even more critical as you go in your career, because if you are looking after people and you are not someone who is quick to understand what is priority, what is urgent, you become a bottleneck and you become the reason why your team members cannot do well. And that is not going to help you long term, especially for those of us that are aspiring to very, very senior leadership roles. Prepared. I'll be the first one to tell you, before I came for this interview, this speaking event, I prepared my slides. I practiced my slides. I looked through and looked at where there were typos, because there were typos. I did a dry run because I wanted to make sure that I was going to flow. And so because I am prepared, I can show up here confident. You need to prepare, whatever that looks like for you. Productive. Finish what you start. Don't be like these people who do 3, 4, 5 things at the same time and they don't get things done. You have so many different projects that you're working on. It's not going to work, please. Be someone who can be trusted to start and to finish what they are going to do. And then finally, be authentic. Now, under the doer, so to speak. Now, the thing about authenticity, I find that it has gotten a rap in the past few weeks and days, because people think authentic in the workplace means come and tell me all your hopes and dreams and tell me what is going on with your family and tell me what is going on everywhere. No, authentic in the context of the workplace means know your strengths and weaknesses. Know what you can do and cannot do. I posted a video recently about a lady in my team. She came in, I remember she was, and it's actually one of the videos that I posted that went viral. She came into the interview, graduate trainee. I think she had worked for maybe a year or two. And it's investment banking at the time. You want a certain profile, someone who has plenty financial modeling experience, someone who has plenty accounting experience. And she didn't necessarily have that. But what I liked about her, she was very self-possessed. She had very, very strong emotional intelligence, right? She was very honest about what she could and she could not do. And there was just something about her that was very compelling. Long story short, we took a chance on her. She stood head and shoulders above the people that had the plenty financial modeling, the plenty accounting, was the top in her set, went to the US to do her MBA. And she called me like 2-3 weeks ago to tell me that she had gotten a placement abroad to work somewhere in Europe, and she's going to be living in 2 to 3 different countries. in the year. And this is someone that has a green passport like all of us. So imagine if she was trying to pretend to be somebody she was not. It would have been off-putting. Imagine if she tried to tell us that her weaknesses were actually strengths. You know, when people come in and want to not be honest about who they are, she wouldn't have gotten the opportunities and the doors that have been opened up for her. Now, granted, this is one example, but it's an illustration of the fact that even in today's day and age, being authentic is important. Now, being the problem solver, you turn problems into value. Problem solver, self-evidence. I will not overflog the point. We've had that conversation extensively today. Now, the next two, one could argue that they're not necessarily linked to problem solving, but I have a different view. Imagine if you have, let's say, look, this happens to us all the time. For example, I'll give you an example. I wanted to renew my daughter's passport. I wanted to go through the process because I renewed my own passport recently. It was not a very, very nice experience. And I wanted to renew, her passport. We found out that we knew somebody else in another location that was able to get it done without all of the hassle, right? Whether we like it or not, it is important to be connected. And it is important for you to have good relationships across board. Now, the problem now I find when we have conversations about connectedness is that we want to be connected to high people, to senior people, to the people that are big boys and big girls, not realizing that, and I saw this video somewhere, I don't remember where I saw it, not realizing that the most important connections you're going to need in your life are the connections you're going to have with your peers, with people that you move through life with people that you come up in life with. And I'll give a personal example. I'm sure a lot of us have heard about Adesuwa Kumbo Rhodes, the lady of Arua Capital, who, when the School of Hard Knocks guy came to Nigeria, she was one of the people that he filmed, right? Now, one could say that this is name dropping. Quite frankly, I don't care. Adesuwa and I went to school together. Adesuwa wrote, I was able to call her even before she blew up to this extent to ask her to write the foreword for my first book, and she graciously obliged. I did not know that she was going to blow like this over the past couple of months. But even if I call her now, right, and I need her help, I have that access. Why? Because we came up together. If she needs my help for something, she has access to me to call me. So a lot of the time we get so focused on doing vertical. I want to meet the president of this. I want to be mentored by but the most important relationships you will need are the ones with your mentors, because as you grow up together, there's a certain camaraderie that cannot be manufactured. And be likable. Look, just be a kind person. Be nice. Smile. Don't frown. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Read the book, please. And then purpose-driven, know your why. For many of us, it takes us some time to know our why. It took me a long time to know our why. And again, sometimes what stops us from knowing our why is being so preoccupied with what people think and what it will look like. But when you find your why, hold on to your why and let it propel the decisions that you make for the rest of your life. So you don't need to pick all 12. This is a buffet, so to speak. Pick one or two. Start with maybe today, I want to be someone that is known for being very fast and being very responsive. And as that becomes something that is part of who you are, okay, I want to become someone who is very agile, who moves very quickly, who is not so married to the way things are, but is open and adaptable to when things change. And yeah, this is the reference for those slides as well. And then the thinker, these are just, I broke it down so that you can see what it means in daily life. But curious, never stop learning. In a shifting economy, learning agility is your safety. A lot of us are worried about AI. I actually have a different view. I think AI is such a powerful tool that can make you very efficient and can position you to have incredible opportunities that were not previously available. Anticipate or see the problem before it becomes a crisis. Be adaptable. That's what it means to be fragile. Plans are going to not work, and that's okay. Be able to be able to tell yourself, okay, plan A did not work. What is plan B? And then self-aware, know yourself. Do not be the kind of person that is driven by their feelings. Give yourself the space to feel. Your Bible says, be angry and sin not. The Bible did not say be angry, but don't sin. It says you can feel the feeling, but don't allow the feeling dictate your action. Be self-aware, know how you're feeling, give yourself the space to feel it, but then don't allow those feelings to dictate the actions that you do take. So for example, what could be one tip or trick you try here? Ask yourself, what are those gifts and talents of yours that you've not explored? Those ones that you've thought, no, they'll say it's stupid. Oh, no, it looks like rubbish. Well, for me, it was writing. I just like, let me not go and write. But look, I cannot even begin to tell you the amount of opportunities that book has opened for me. And how can you now start to develop those talents that you've written off, right? And then the doer, be quick, be quick. People respect quick people to the extent that you can be prepared, do the work. There's a saying that says that luck is when opportunity meets, preparation. If you're waiting to be prepared, or if you're waiting to prepare when the opportunity comes, by the time the opportunity comes, it's already too late. Finish what you start. That's what it means to be productive. Be aware of your strengths and weaknesses, own them, and then see what you can do to improve. So, for example, what is one thing you could try? Reply to every important message within 24 hours. Now, I understand that you cannot do everything at the same time, but you need to have a system to understand, okay, this is important, but not urgent. This is urgent, but not important. This is neither important nor urgent. Let me see how I can delegate it or shift it to a more convenient time. So that's a practice that is important to develop. And finally, the problem solver. Look, one thing I don't like is when someone in my team comes and says, ma, we have this problem. This happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened. I'm like, okay, what's the solution? One thing that sets you apart really quickly is being the kind of person who does not just come with problems. You come with recommendations. What you are telling your boss is that you're already thinking for the next level. And when conversations about promotions are coming, those are the kinds of things that serious employers are thinking about, right? Connected, I've spoken about that at length, as well as being likable and purpose-driven. And so, like I said, it's a pet peeve for me. So that's why I really, really focused on this one. Next time you raise a problem, bring a proposed solution for it. Now, again, like I said in the beginning, it's almost as if we all peeped into each other's slides before we before we started to speak. Look, visibility, 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 especially for women. You do something fantastic, you don't want to say anything. Let them not see that I'm being too boastful. Oh, I'm just very humble. Oh, I just want to come and do my work. If I do my work, they will reward me. Lies. Big, fat lies. You better take a trumpet and tell everybody what you have done. You better announce it from here to the end of the world. It's even better for them to say, are you the only one? Yes, I'm the only one. If you did not do, why didn't you go and announce your own? Anything look, I made 5 naira today. I sent an email last week to the women in my community. And I said, have a practice. At the end of every week, go into, whether you write with pen, whether you have a Word document, go and type, what are the things I achieved this week? What are the things I worked on this week? Do you know why that is important? And be specific. I closed 10,000 naira in sales, and this resulted in 400 naira of profits for the business. Do you know why that is important? When you are updating your CV eventually, you don't have to start thinking long. You've been keeping records for a long time. Put it in ChatGPT, put it in Claude, whatever AI tool you're using. It can tell you, over the past 1, 2, 3 years that I have been here, this is the amount of revenue I've generated. This is the amount of profit that it has resulted in for the company. What it does, apart from helping you to write your CV, it gives you confidence. You walk into that interview understanding, I have done this, I can speak to it authoritatively. This is how I did it. This is what I did. Half the time, the reason why you are going into those, you see, that visibility problem, it doesn't just stay where you put it. You go into an interview, your head is bowed, you're speaking in such a low voice, almost as if you are begging them to like you and begging you to do them the job. Nobody wants to hire a desperate person. The person that wants to hire a desperate person does not have good plans for you. You want to be able to work on yourself, to know internally. You have to know it first internally that you are a person of value. You have worked hard. You have the conviction, again, going back to what Additional said, that you are a person of value, have added value to yourself. And all you are doing by being visible is communicating the value. And anybody that has a problem with it, well, sorry for them. They can go and hug a transformer. Now, do excellent work. Make sure the right people know it. Visibility is not vanity. It is stewardship. And you want to be known as the first person that when, this thing is Ada, this thing, and they cannot know if you do not consistently reinforce that message. It's very important. Now, why is this the smarter bet? You become the person opportunity is looking for. Look, on this matter, I will just use my own experience as an example. I have never, if you go and look at all my videos on Instagram, my handle is Ada Onanuga. I have never for one day said, if you want to be coached by me, send me a message. By the end of this weekend, I'm going to have to put a notice on my links that I am no longer accepting new coaching clients because my DMs are a mess. I'm a person of value. And people that see, they know the value. So they will ask, Ma, please, do you do coaching? Can you be my coach? Please, can you be my coach? Please, can you be my coach? And it goes back to what, again, Additional was saying about building in public and testing the market. It was because of the flood of DMs I was getting. I was like, okay, well, it seems that this is something I'm going to have to do because I'm already doing it in private, right? So when you are a person of value, you've added value to yourself and you have broken out of societal constraints to own the fullness of what you carry, and you have the courage to put it out there on social media to try when it's not working until you find a system that works for you, then you become the kind of person that opportunity is going to start to look for. Will it be slow? Maybe. Is it sustainable? Absolutely. Now, my PA is calling me. I'm not quite sure why she's calling me because she knows I'm in this session. Take away questions very quickly. If you want to take a picture, a screenshot, please do that. And to close, in a world that is chasing attention, choose to focus on value. Be a thinker, a doer, a problem solver. This is a decision available to you today. Final closing thoughts. The internet may reward noise, but life still rewards value. So choose to be the person that can actually do the work. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think I know I used far much of my time, but that's the end of my slides. Thank you.
Yeah, just 5 minutes extra.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Please, can we give her a virtual ovation?
The reason your business is stuck isn't strategy. It's you and your team. Now, imagine what happens when you grow and your team grows with you. Check out some of our programs. They're content-rich and deeply experiential. See, at Seed Academy, we help founders, managers, and sales team to lead, manage, sell, and succeed. Let's build the team that builds the business. Talk to us today.
Seed Academy, your growth partner.
The Mavericks Leadership Center, raising iconoclastic leaders.